This is Remy, the standard poodle. I always look forward to her appointment when I see her name on my schedule because she's just such a sweet dog. Since I've been working with Remy for quite some time, I do know all of her quirks, and I also know that she really does not like the drying process. Since Remy gets a very short haircut, I always opt to pre-shave her just so that the drying process is a lot easier for her. Also, disclaimer, I am not this fast. This is a time-lapse video. I do like to take my time with all of my pre-shaves. Next, I put her in the tub and get her all ready for a bath. Since she is my first dog of the day, I take my time to make sure that the water is at a proper temperature for her. We wouldn't want to freeze or burn her. Once I know that my water temperature is steady and at a proper temperature for her, I get right into the bathing. Since Remy is a black poodle, I always like to use some form of a deep cleansing but general shampoo for her. She doesn't really need any whitening since she's black, and there's no de-shedding since she's a poodle. I take my time to make sure that I get soap on every area of her, and then I scrub it into each area. Once her body is all soapy and wet, I move on to her face. She always gets a blueberry facial. Unless they need hypo, I always like to use the Blueberry Facial by Tropiclean. It does a really nice job at scrubbing the face and is a, quote, tearless formula. Additionally, the face is always the last area that I scrub and the first area that I rinse, just to make sure that no soap runs down their face and or into their eyes, because that would not be pleasant. Remy really enjoys her towel dry. She just loves pets, and this is her time for love and affection. I try to do as thorough of a towel dry as possible on her because, as previously mentioned, she is not the biggest fan of the dryer, and everything I do, I always want to make sure that she is comfortable and happy and not stressed. When we move over to the dryer, I always like to put a happy hoodie on her. This helps to keep her calm and dampen the sound. The happy hoodie is one of the best inventions I've ever found in the grooming field. It really does help calm the dogs that don't like the dryer. There is another option made by one of my friends at Marbella's Grooming Supplies, and it's called the Shushy, another really great invention. Unlike the happy hoodie that goes over your head, the Shushies you can actually like Velcro around the head, so then you don't have to have that awkward moment of putting their head through the hole. Anyways, you can feel free to check those out if you're a groomer and you don't have them. This is not a promotional video, but I highly recommend having one on hand. Or if you're crazy like me, you can have multiple of every different color and every size. Back to Miss Remy here. She's doing so very well for the dryer today. She definitely enjoys having my attention and getting lots of pets while I dry her. This also helps me to feel any moisture left in her coat, so not only is she getting some love and attention, but I'm also checking my work. Again, just to keep this video short, the next few parts have been sped up into a time lapse. Remy does get poodle feet, so I like to always do this with my cordless Bravura clipper. I only videoed one foot because it does take quite a bit of time, and Remy always likes to stop for kisses. After all 4 feet have been shaved, I do the rest of her clipper work. Even though I whipped off most of the hair before the bath, which allowed me to get the shampoo right down to the skin, the drying process was easier, and now I've just got to put kind of a finish on her. So before I did not back brush, but now I am back brushing to ensure that I get a nice, smooth, even finish. Since Remy is getting a number 7, there isn't a whole ton of back brushing to be done, but just any areas that have sticky outies or hair that's not picking up well, I always make sure to back brush through that. As with every groom, nails are always included. Today I am clipping and grinding Remy's nails. I always recommend nail grinding for poodles because they like to scratch their face after it's been freshly clippered. I scissor up all around Remy, so I am really taking my time here even though it doesn't look like it. Especially for the ears, I always make sure that my fingers are at the tips of the ears so I would cut my finger rather than her ear if she were to move. Again, there's not a whole ton of scissor work to be done on her just because she got such a short haircut, but I always like to go through and just make sure that there's no sticky outies or anything that's out of place that shouldn't be there. And scissoring always puts a nice finish on the dog. Lastly, her tail. I know this is not a typical poodle tail. Her dad likes her to look like a little lion, so we always take the tail right down to the end and keep it nice and short. When she's all done, I cleaned her ears and gave her a bandana as well as a spritz of cologne. And she's all fresh, clean, happy, and ready to go home. Remy really likes the chicken that I use to squeak for dog photos. Bye, Remy!